Testing 1, 2. Okay, ready? We'll bow in. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, good. Salute. Oh, big class. First exercise. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. To the side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Center. Hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. To your left. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. To your left. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. 2, 3. To your left. 2, 3. Center. Inhale. Exhale. Hands on your waist. Circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center cross. Knees. Circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center. Hands on your waist. Neck turning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center tilt to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2. Center, rotating, 1, 2, 3. Reverse, 1, 2, 3. Center, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Spread your feet, turn your shoulders, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and stop. Stretch it out. Switch. 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 Straighten the front knee. Switch. 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 Center. Okay, shake it out. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, shoulder roll. Reverse. And Sana. Okay, press, release, exhale, inhale. And stop. Deep breathing. Inhale. Okay, wrist. Reverse. Okay, palms down. Bigger circle. one more set. 1, 2, and 3. Shake it out, side to side. And Sana. Okay, lift the knee. Okay, insert needle. Switch. And Sana. Okay, leg swing. Okay, Sana. Switch. And Sana. Side to side. Switch. and center. Okay, shake it out. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, still grilling. Switch of the direction. Okay, open and close. Switch. Okay, center. Okay, lower hoop. Shoulder height. Elbows down. Palms down, straighten up. Extend. Okay, deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Diagonal flying. Switch. Okay, cloud hands. Okay, palms down, carry tiger to the mountain. Infinity sign. Okay, form the fists. Palms together, strum the lute. Turn, draw the bow. Okay, fan to the back. Okay, raise the hand. Okay, palms down, deep breathing, inhale. Okay, go through the form. Want to stay as long as you can? You want to do the form, Anthony? Or we can go on the other side. Yeah. Okay, all right. So you can stay till you're ready. You ready? Feet parallel, preparation. Face the back, cross the hands, left hand to the outside, bend from the waist, stalk flaps wings. Left side, grasp the sparrow's tail. Part the horse's mane. Step up. Part the horse's mane. Cross corner, Jade Lady work shuttle. Single whip. Deep breathing, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, we try it again. Ready? Okay, together. Ready? Preparation. So go through the long form. Okay, ready? Preparation. Okay, any section you want to review? You want to? Yeah. So, so the when you first learn, it's the sequence, and then you build off of that, and you just work the pieces and try to improve on each one of those. So there's a lot of standard transitions when you're stepping forward or stepping backwards, and then you have your the difficult movements, the kicks, the downward posture. Any of those one-legged things are kind of challenging in many ways, balance and so forth. Flexibility is really the big issue, because as you get older, the limbleness and the flexibility and the range of motion starts to decline, and it doesn't decline as you just get older. It starts when you stop using it. So that's why we have to move our joints. Without moving these joints, your body thinks it doesn't need it anymore. So if you don't bend your knees beyond a certain point, then the range starts to go away. So like squatting down, even though downward posture is one of it takes strength and flexibility, but you really have to like crouch down so that your knees get the full sort of folding. And what I mean by that, if you just squat down to do something, if you're gardening or something, what do you have to do? You have to sit down into your knees. So when we bend, that's just a partial bend, but that's releasing. But when we do the stretches and we go to the side to sides, so even if you don't do a lot of squatting, even at home, if you have a bar or a couch, if you just squat down and bend your knees, that's actually going to increase some flexibility, because you're going to feel a lot of tension in here because it's not used to folding. So if you're sitting in chairs all day long and you're driving your car, your knees actually don't go down that far, right? So then, if you're sitting down and you're putting your knees down, so a lot of religions go down in these prayer positions. They're on their knees. A lot of martial artists do the same thing. So if you don't bend your knees, it loses range of motion. The ligaments and tendons start to not so much shorten, but because there's muscular resistance, it doesn't carry all the way through. So that's why at least bending down at least a couple of times a day makes a big difference. And the reason why this is something that we don't really pay attention to. Why can't we bend our knees beyond this point? I think you've heard this before, but just as a recap, why do you think when you go into a downward posture, it only goes to here? Or only goes to here? It's not totally just the range of motion, flexibility. What do you think is the conflict in that motion? Anybody want to guess? Groin muscles, knee muscles, ankle muscles. Actually, ankles, groins, and those are joint areas. So, do most of us have any trouble folding our elbow? No, right? No. When you're like this, you can fold it. When you're like this, you can fold it. Why does that joint work when the elbow and the knee is similar? But yet, when it comes to your legs, it doesn't want to fold. Huh? Yeah, it is the weight. What it is your legs carry your body weight. So that's the only thing it knows to do. You stand up, they straighten up, it carries your body weight. But it doesn't know when to let go of the weight, right? When does it know to let go of the weight? When you consciously want to bend it, right? So if you just kind of take your knee and fold it like this, can you do that? Can you take the knee and fold it? You can, right? Well, Some are better than others. Depends how many times you've squatted down. But when you're standing on one leg and you bend your knee and you hold it up, it's folded, right? If you were lying down and you pick up your knee and you fold it, it can fold, right? And it doesn't hurt. The only time it starts to hurt is when you stress it. And when does it get stressed? When you have weight on your leg and your muscles are holding you up and straight, and it's working toward maintaining this vertical position. So then when you bend, it doesn't know how much to let go. So how do you know how much to let go? You have to sit into it and let the balance between the two sides of the body work together, so it allows you to settle into it. So that's maybe one of the reasons why we do downward posture. So when we're like this, and I have weight on my legs, and I bend, and I just keep this tight, thinking I have to bend it down as far as I can, and it doesn't release, what do you think you're doing? You're trying to force it down into a sitting position, into a squatted position, and it's in conflict because your knee doesn't just fold, it actually has some little bit of lateral motion and so forth. So the only way to sit into your stance is to do that, right? Or to do this. So you sit into your stance and you don't resist the motion, letting that joint fold. So that's really sort of the idea, but it's not really a trick in a sense. It has to do with learning to settle down and releasing. But it's I don't want you to do it without any support. Like something like your couch or your chair would help you go down. But you can't go down if your knee is resisted by your thigh muscle. It's holding it open, so you can't squat down. But when you're in a squatted position and you have stretched enough over the period of time, the knee joint actually can accommodate the position. So that's the reason why most people can't go into downward posture or even squat down. It's because we're not used to going down and letting go. So this side has to squat down and this side has to let go. Now this requires flexibility, but when you just sit down like this on one side or the other, it actually allows you to fold your knee. So no one ever really thinks about that. And most people that go into this position are actually resisting their own motion. So that's the idea, the concept. So that's what you have to do. So if you want a little more range of motion, when you're not here, you have to do it at home. And how do you do it at home? You sit in front of stand in front of a chair, or use your sofa or your whatever seat you have. Just hold on to the arms, and then you squat down on one side, squat down on the other. And not so much trying to, because you're not doing a muscular physical squat. What you're trying to do is release the tension in the joint. Then as you release the tension in the joint, it allows you to go down. But how far can you go down? Only as flexible as this. But if you're like this, and like this, you actually can work your joint so that so if you do this and this, you'll actually work your knee, and actually your hip will be involved. Right? So then if you're like the back of your hamstrings are really tight, if you're doing this kind of work in the garden or whatever, and when you get up, your back is really sore, right? Your back, you get up and you go, oh, my back. It's because the hamstrings are too tight. Because the hamstrings are tight, that's pulling on this. So you get up in the morning, your back is stiff. It's all because of these. So, stretching those is when we bend like this, and we bend like this, and we bend like this. and you work your hip and you build that flexibility. But when we stretch, typically we're stretching here. That's why if you don't stretch, haven't stretched for a while, or you don't stretch, when you start to touch your toes, the next day, where's it sore? Oh, behind the knees. First thing, because to get to your back, it's actually, if you're really tight, this is the only part that kind of lets go, and you're like this. So you actually have to stretch the whole muscle, because there's connections here that go all the way up through your butt, up into your back. Right? So if that muscle is tight, it's going to affect your back. So most people are pretty stiff. They can't really touch their toes. So that's why it's not so much, the way the body works is how you release it. You have to release, like in Tai Chi we say, release the tension or Fong Song. So Fong Song is to relax. But then when you relax, while you're practicing and trying to figure out how do I get some of these range of motions, it has to do with the stretch. So stretching is important, but stretching shouldn't be a physical thing where you're just trying to pull the muscle. The muscle has to release, has to relax. That's the only way. So, one of the things these bars are good for, ballerinas, people ballet, that bar work. The only thing you can do is lift your leg to here or here, right? And then one of the mistakes a lot of people make when they're stretching is to do this. But that's not working the muscle, it's only working your neck. So you really should try to stretch with as straight a back as possible and now this really only goes 90 degrees, but you have to try to go a little bit beyond that in order to stretch the whole muscle. So this is something that you can do at home. You go down and see, if you see this position, it's because I'm turning this way. Right? A lot of people stretch, they try to do this, but actually that doesn't get here. You have to do this and this, and then go down. And then as you stretch, you begin to pull, and it goes lower and lower and lower. And that's partially because mind over matter. So you have to release and let it go. But that takes a little time. You have to build on that. Because initially when you do that, you're going to get really sore. And the other thing is you could pull the muscle. And the other thing is it could cramp up on you. Because the muscles, while it's in a state of stretch, it's actually in a state of contraction that's releasing. So the first thing happens is it wants to tighten. So that's something that, you can work on. Now when I say at home, where do you do it at home? Kitchen counters are the best height to do it in. The back of the sofa. And, Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of active passive stretch. It's active and passive. While you're pulling, the muscle wants to contract because it resists that motion. But then as it goes up, it has to relax. So a good example of how to increase the stretch is if you take your hand like this and you do this, right? And you pull back and you can feel it here, right? You feel it there? Right. Okay, now when you're in this position and you're pausing, there's a nice sort of an isometric. That's like your muscle group working and not actually going anywhere. It's an equilibrium, right? So at this point, pull back on the wrists and then push into the front hand like a press. So now you feel a pushing into the front hand. So the lower part of your forearm is actually contracting, right? So when you feel that contraction, let it go, and then you feel the release. Once it releases, you press again, and then release. Then press again, and then release. So what you're doing is getting the muscle to respond to releasing. So that's a method of doing. So when you're working with a partner, we used to do stuff like this, where when your leg is lifted up, say like in this position, and you're on your back, when someone pushes on your leg and then you resist it, the muscle contracts and is pushing it the opposite way, right? And then you let it go. Then you push and you let it go. You push and you let it go. And the muscle will start to release and it starts to give way. So, that's, one way. That's actually the best way to stretch, because you're actually releasing the muscle into a stretch, whereas when you get into a position just bounce, it's actually not good, because the muscle's just going boom, 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 and you're going to hurt yourself. So you can do this, if you can understand that concept, you can do this with any muscle in your body. But you have to actually, like I say this, push against your hand, so your muscle here contracts against that, right? So that's isometric. So then you let it go. You push, and let it go. You push into your opposing hand, and let it go. Now you can feel the stretch here, right? So that's stretching the muscle by releasing. And then when we do this, that's actually a motion. And that's stretching and contracting, but you're releasing, but in motion. So motion, when I say, is the best way to increase range of motion, because there isn't this conflict. Because stretching sometimes is just one-dimensional, and if you stretch in only one dimension, it's only good in that direction. Movements are multi-dimensional, so the muscles have to constantly release throughout the motion, and that becomes part of motor skills. So, yeah. Yeah, well, balance it, So if you put your hand, okay, find a position with your elbow like this, right? Okay, so your hand's kind of in this part of your head, not against your ear, right here. Then you go like this and push into the hand, right? Yeah, you push with your head into your hand, and your arm is kind of holding it so you could feel tension on this side, right? And then you let go. Yeah. Yeah, the stretch is on the right, but the contraction's on the left. The opposite side contracts. If I pull my head this way, this muscle pulled my head that way, right? So if my head is pulling me this way, and I don't let it go, it becomes an isometric. It becomes a muscle against muscle. It's this arm versus this neck. Now, if I let it go, it stretches. Now, from that position, I contract again. And then I let it go. I contract again, I let it go. So you just increase the range of the stretch, but you actually didn't, you don't feel pain, So that's just a sample of what you could do from your neck. You could do it this way too. Resist here, go down. Resist, go down. Resist, go down. Then you'll feel the stretch down your back. So, this is just a technique for stretching. You'd have to stretch your whole body like that, but a lot of these kind of stretches work with partners. It's two-person stretching. They do that a lot in some of the other, like when you want to really increase the range of your kicks and all that, you have to do all that stretching, because, if you think about a kick, when you spread your legs, the wider you spread it, the higher the kick's going to go. right? So you really can't do these high kicks unless you can do a split. So that's just the way it is, because you have to take that position and then transition it to this, and that's where you see the height, right? But if you can only go like this, forget about kicking beyond here, because it's not going to go. It's resistance. Okay, ready? Bow. Mm-hmm.
Because I haven't been doing it anyway.
Like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So for you, because you do a lot of it, when you stretch, this is for here, right? This is for in here, inner thigh, yeah. And then from here, if you put your shoulder to your knee, so you try to put like that. So you have to do that, yeah.
Metal height in a circle on legs.
Mm-hmm.
I saw people with legs over it.
Yeah.
And then they go back and forth and back. That strikes me as it could be very easy to get back.
Yeah, so a lot of